And no one's immune from this. Freaking Blockbuster, $1 billion company, out of business.
Small, big, retail, online.
Kodak, $1 billion company, bankrupt, and now basically, like, they were the market leader. What's really fascinating about Kodak is they literally developed the digital camera, but they made the decision not to take it to market because they thought it would hurt their film business.
Ask at LiveBearded.com.
Not ask. What you don't understand is
The spot opened up literally next door. That's a big freaking win for the company because it
started this show
Spencer and Anthony.
It's crazy how loyal
guys were thirsty for some
one of the
real-
encouraging men to be the best version. Ask us anything.
Welcome to the Beardsmen.
That is a good question.
You know, you got 14 hours, let's say, a little bit burnt out, unmotivated.
Week, not their birthday.
I gotta extend it.
Welcome to the Beardsmen. I am here with the founders of Live Bearded, aka the Beardsmen, Spencer and Mink.
What's up, guys? I'm Spence.
My name is Mink, and we started this podcast because we love talking to our community. Spence and I started Live Bearded almost 7.5 years ago now.
Ooh.
And through this
Throw that
process, our favorite part of running this company has been connecting with our community, chopping it up. We love it when guys come to the office. We love just having the opportunity to connect with other like-minded individuals. And we thought we would start this podcast to answer your questions and talk about the experience of being a man in the world today.
Which is a crazy one.
You could say that for sure.
Yeah, guys.
Oh, I forgot to say the show where we talk, mock, and never walk away from the conversation.
Oh,
There
we'll
we
tell
go.
them now.
I just did.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just in case you guys were wondering, this is the show where we talk, mock,
And never walk
away.
from the conversation.
From the conversation. They beat me.
Yeah. And the conversations we have, they vary, guys. You know, here at Live Bearded, we're passionate about encouraging men to be the best versions of themselves. So, of course, we want to talk beard grooming, but we want to talk men's lifestyle, fitness, health, wealth, relationship. Literally, this is an Ask Us Anything. So throw your questions in. JR, if they get questions, how do they get them to us?
If you have questions, you can email them to us at ask@livebearded.com, and we will get your questions there.
Or you can throw them up in the
conversation.
comments on past episodes, but we're excited to answer them and kind of hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Put them in the comments.
How you guys doing? So it's officially December.
Holy
The
shit.
year is almost over. Christmas is coming.
What is
Man.
it about time that literally when you're a little kid and older people are like, man, the years just go by fast. You're like, man, fuck off, grandma. Like,
You
told all the time in the
told
world.
your grandma to fuck off?
Well,
never.
it was
I
after
love
she
my
turned her
grandma.
back. He
It
was
was
just like,
after-
fuck off, grandma.
Coming in hot.
Nah, I love my grandma. But you know what I mean? You don't really understand it. And then you get older and it's literally the years just kind of, they evaporate faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
There's truth in that. There's so much truth in that. I love that.
Yeah,
I heard that.
it's one of my
But it gets
favorite.
smaller, it goes faster. Okay.
Wow.
That's a good one.
I learn something new every day. Thanks,
Dropping some
JR.
heat.
You're welcome.
Adding value right out of the gate.
Value.
Yeah, I feel like I think there's two things. One, the farther we get into life, like a roll of toilet paper, the less you have. So it feels like it's more important.
Yeah.
It's more critical. You
Yeah,
got to use
you
it
value
and
it a little more.
value it a little bit
Yeah.
more. And then I think there's also the aspect of responsibility.
Yeah.
The older we get, most of the time, the more responsibility we have, the more more commitments or obligations on our time. And I don't know about you guys, but you know, if you're just to sit around all day and do nothing, time moves pretty slow.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's one of the reasons why I love going to the beach and just chilling for a week. It's like, let me sit on the beach for a few days, let time go by slow, recharge. But in day-to-day life, whether you're
Whirlwind.
married, kids, business, job, work, fitness, whatever, right? It's like
On top of any things you're dealing with.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting paradox, and that's why I think it's so important to just be as intentional as we can with how we invest our time and attention. Otherwise, man, 20 years passes you by, and you're like, what the just happened? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to
Yeah. So I think this is actually one of the last recordings we're going to have before the new year.
Yep.
Since we're taking a little break for the holidays.
I thought that was your way of announcing that we're ending the podcast. This is going to be the last recordings we have. That's a close on the beers.
Get the fuck out of here. No.
like-
So I'm curious, what are you guys most excited about for 2024? I know it's a little bit premature. I haven't even thought about it personally.
Yeah, that's a
but
good
I'm
question.
just curious, put you guys on the spot a little bit.
I mean, mine's pretty easy because
Yeah,
I've got a baby boy coming in about, due date's in like 4.5 weeks. I don't know why this didn't register until this last week, but babies come early super often. And so in my head, I was like, 6 weeks, 5 weeks. And it's like, no, that could actually be tomorrow. So literally any day now, we're just holding on tight any day now. But by the start of the year, we should have a baby boy here. And that's definitely what I'm looking most forward to is the opportunity, the privilege and honor to be challenged and become a new father and get to learn
Yeah.
all that comes with being a father and raising a son.
as a new father to be, what are you most intimidated by or nervous about? Like brand new experience. You know, one of the things we say here at Live Bearded is the first time you do something,
it's the worst
time you do it, right? So,
Sorry, future
This kid's
son,
gonna have a
I'm gonna
great
suck
time.
as a dad for a short period, but your brother's gonna get it good.
yeah,
No,
but,
that's right. I'm the oldest.
But
It's true.
You know,
That's
but
true. No,
also
it's true
it's
to it.
like
Yeah.
when you've never done it before, it takes some time. You know,
Yeah.
you don't
Trial
know
and
what
error,
to
you're stumbling
expect
a little
and
bit.
blah blah blah. You know, and you hear those stories like the first one, you know, you hold forever, you never want it to cry.
Yeah.
The next one, you just fucking let it cry in the
Tossing
crib
around, yeah.
forever. Yeah. So I'm curious, like when you think about it, what are you most? And I don't mean this in a negative way, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what are you most nervous about
sure.
or intimidated
Yeah.
by or?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything inherently with the man, so it's tough. For me, the one thing I keep going back to is going back to time, because I think already in my life, it's hard to fit in all the things I want to do and trying to be efficient with my time and knowing that it's going to be critical for me as a father to be extremely intentional as a father and be present, while also being a phenomenal husband and be present in my relationship with my wife, while also being a phenomenal business partner and showing up and leading the team and helping. And I don't want to neglect any of those things, health and wellness, fitness, all those things. How do you fit all of that into your 24-hour day? And just being really, I think I'm a little nervous as to how I can allocate and manage time a little bit better to be the most efficient motherfucker I can, to make sure I can be all in the areas of my life that I want to be and play all out, and not sacrifice one or the other, and figuring out how to discover what that flow looks like. Maybe that means the gym sessions get cut down in half for a while. You know, there's going to have to be give and take. If you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So figuring out how to reallocate my days to make sure that I'm showing up in all the areas that I want as a father.
Yeah, just
without
know-
neglecting the other things.
Yeah, just know if you get flabby, we can't use you in commercials anymore.
Damn it! The
Don't
dad
cut
bod,
down
I mean,
on
I
the
get
gym.
it. It's like, okay, you start looking at your days and auditing. Well, fuck, I can't spend 2 hours at the gym. Like, I got to cut that down to 45 minutes and find ways and find efficiencies to still be around in all the other areas. So it's it's intimidating. It's fucking intimidating.
Yeah. What about you, JR? Most excited about in 2024?
I'm most excited about releasing my movie in 2024. That's
yeah.
that's just been a bear to deal with.
How long have you been working on that?
I started editing in April, and then so I spent a month on it there. Then I moved here. Then I spent the summer working on that, and then I picked it back up in July. So like a couple months.
Yeah. I know you're the only one editing.
Yeah,
The only one.
only one. It was 2 hours. Now it's an hour and 43. There's so much. There's so much. They don't know about movies though. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think 2023 has been probably the most challenging mental and emotional year I've had in a long time. And I feel like, you know, with that comes the growth and the strength and a different level of perspective or clarity or understanding. I think on the other side of obstacles and challenges, we have a greater level of clarity of what we want. And, you know, at a glance, just off the cuff, I think I'm really excited to see the growth and the continued progress here at Live Bearded. I don't have a kid on the way or a wife on the way or anything like that I know of. So for me, it's like work mostly. I've started to create a lot more content personally, and that has brought a lot of fulfillment because it's content around sharing some of my experiences and how I relate to the world. And so I'm excited to continue to get better at that and share a little bit more of my message and my story and use that as hopefully a tool to help encourage and inspire people on their journey. So I would say just kind of growing through the pain of this year and growing into the opportunity of next year. There isn't one particular thing at this point. Yeah, that would be what I know. I'm launching my personal podcast in January. That's been like a year and a half in the making. So excited about that for sure.
Entitled to Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so watch out for that. If you like The Beardsman, check out Entitled to Nothing too. Speaking of passing knowledge and experience on to people, you want to pass on some of that stuff with questions from
Yeah,
the
let's
community?
do it.
Get it.
Yeah.
Dig in.
Yeah, we love when guys come by the office or when they reach out to us online, ask us questions, chop it up. It's one of our favorite things. Again, that's why we started the show. So if you have any questions you want to ask us, if you're in Arizona, come by the office. You can ask us in person. And if not, shoot us a message, drop us a comment, and we would love to get to it.
Yep. Our first question comes from Harry. Harry said, I've been thinking about starting my own business, but it feels like a daunting task. What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs on getting started and staying motivated?
Yeah, so I actually did an interview yesterday. This guy reached out and asked if he could interview me for a entrepreneur specific e-commerce newsletter that he's putting together. And one of his final questions was, what advice would you give to new like entrepreneurs or people that are just getting started in e-commerce. And if I remember it correctly, I said, number one, it's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. It'll be way fucking harder than you think it's going to be. And don't get into it unless you're willing to struggle and to go through the challenges and the obstacles. I just said this year was the hardest year mentally and emotionally we've had in a while. We've been running this business for 7 years. We make 8 figures a year. Like, you often think in the beginning that once you get to a certain point, things are going to get easier. And the truth is, it doesn't get easier. You just get stronger and you're capable of carrying more weight or juggling more things or making bigger decisions. But if you continually grow, the decisions are continually growing beyond your capabilities. And there will be points in times where it's very, very difficult. It's harder than you ever think it would be. So I would say that's number one. And for me, I think part of the biggest problem we have in life is we have false expectations, or our perception is very different than the reality. And when I got started, I didn't realize some of these things. And online today, whether it's, internet marketing or in business or whatever, everyone's trying to find the easy button. They want to find how fast you can get there, make $100,000 in 6 months or 7 figures in a year or blah, blah, blah. There's like all this like bullshit that kind of talks about fast growth, fast momentum. It's going to be easy, passive income. The truth is it's fucking hard. And it will be continuously hard for as long as you play the game. Being a business owner is the longer that you're in business, the greater likelihood that you will go out of business.
Fail. Mm-hmm.
So, and the stats show that in the first 10 years, 80% of businesses go out of business. And then in the second 10 years, another 80% of businesses go out of business.
So you got 80%.
So if you have 100,
80% of 18. Yeah. So 2 businesses out of 100 are left after 20 years?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Oh, 4.
Yeah. So if you have 100 and 80% die, you're left with 20.
Yeah.
Right. And then if 80% of those die, I believe the math would be 4. Right. So 4 out of 100 over 20 years. And no one's immune from this. Freaking Blockbuster, $1 billion company, out of business.
Small, big, retail, online.
Kodak, $1 billion company, bankrupt, and now basically, like, they were the market leader. What's really fascinating about Kodak is they literally developed the digital camera, but they made the decision not to take it to market because they thought it would hurt their film business, right? So, like, that's a decision that they made that basically put them into bankruptcy. So number one, it's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. And I share that with love because I want you to understand that it will be fucking hard. If someone's telling you it's easy, they're lying to you. And I would rather tell you the truth that you don't want to hear than placate you.
They're trying to tell you it's easy. It's probably because they're trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just buy this platform. It does all the work for you. Use AI.
Yeah. So that was number one. It's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. Number two, you got to have a long-term vision. I know in my life, the biggest mistakes I made were when I was trying to make fast money or trying to get instant gratification. Oh, this investment's going to make me a shitload of money in 6 months. Lose it all. Oh, this business opportunity, like if I jump on it and I ride the wave of it, I'm going to get X amount of money in X amount of time. Goes out of business. Like for me and with Live Bearded, I think our entire experience of what we were doing day to day and then the opportunity that the company created shifted when we stopped thinking in terms of 6 to 12 months at a time to 5 to 10 years at a time. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I was going to reflecting back on Live Bearded. If it was 6 or 12 months, we would have folded up shop. We weren't able to pay ourselves for the first 18 months. And mind you, we worked 6 days a week around the clock, 12, 14, 16-hour days. We allowed ourselves Sundays off for the first 18 months without the ability to even pay ourselves. Had we had a shorter time horizon expectation of, we're going to make money in 6 months, 12 months, Live Bearded would have never existed. But with a big enough why and enough commitment to that vision, with the right inputs and the execution around the fucking clock, then it pushes that out and allows you to kind of weather those storms and stay committed through it.
Yeah, I heard this from Tony Robbins. He says the success of a business is in direct proportion to the psychology of the business owner. Or said another ways, the whether you win or lose in business is going to come down to your psychology and your ability to weather the storms and how you approach the game of business. So that's why my first two, like in the interview that I did, A, it's going to be fucking hard. Anticipate it. B, you're going to have to be willing to play a long-term game, right? If you're trying to get rich quick, you're going to fucking fail. And yes, there is random ass people, outliers,
yeah,
opportunities that you do have quick success, but disclaimers don't disprove the rule. And the rule is most people in business, it takes much, much longer than they thought it was going to take. Once you get the mindset right, okay, it's going to be fucking hard and it's going to take me a long time. The next most important thing is understanding marketing, because you can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows it exists, you are not going to sell shit. right? If you build it, they will not come, especially in a world that is completely over commoditized and as distracted in terms of all the different options and opportunities that there are. So you have to figure out how to market your product. There's a variety of ways that you could do that. We don't have the time to get into it today, but learning how to market is the single most important thing. And I'll leave you guys with this. Peter Drucker, who is one of the greatest business thinkers of all time, says all a business is marketing and innovation. So find a way to sell a product and then innovate on that product and innovate on that marketing and innovation. And if you can figure those two things out, then you can have some success.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd add to that, and I think 100% spot on, is find ways to add more value than anybody else can.
Yes.
Right? Because at the end of the day, like what you're trying to do is build a relationship with your future potential customers. And if you're not adding value and you're trying to sell shit, well, to your point, everything is becoming commoditized. You can find cheaper products that are, on Amazon, whatever else. If you don't add value to your customers, they're going to leave you for a cheaper option, whatever. And so I think every opportunity, every interaction, every communication, how can you add value to your customers? I mean, taking it back to the early days of Live Bearded, we literally asked, how can we make our guys' day better every single day through every single interaction? Because we genuinely cared about adding value to their lives. And I think that's a huge part of what's been allowed us to create the success within Live Bearded and build the community that we have.
Yeah, it's the secret sauce for sure. I'm so glad you brought that up because at the end of the day, if you have, like we sell beard products, there's a dozen, 2 dozen, 100, 1,000 other companies that sell beard oil as well, right? So that then how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you actually build a community of people or build a business, a brand that has loyalty? It is by figuring out ways to add more value to your customers in your unique way than any other competitor can. And there's a variety of different ways to do this, but finding a way to add tangible value or intangible value
intangible, yeah.
to your customers is, I think, arguably the greatest hack that exists in business. There's this article for anybody who really wants to start a business or is thinking about it. Google 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly. And what he talks about is how to create a raving fan by really adding value, but also the psychology of the way to approach it and how to think about it, but adding value. And so we sell beard oil. Okay, cool. But like, what else can we do? And we've spent years at this point thinking about how we can add additional value, how we can connect and build rapport and ultimately facilitate a customer experience that we believe is greater than anyone else, or at least different and authentic to us in a way that no one else can do. And that's where the game is won or lost.
To sum it up a little bit, look for ways to add value to the extreme in any capacity like that and just dive into it head first, no matter, like 100% all the way through. Don't try to tiptoe around it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you said it a lot more eloquently. Mine's the For Dummies version of the book. Great. Thanks, Harry. Next question we have is, with so much information out there, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. How can men become more critical thinkers and make well-informed decisions in a world filled with misinformation? From Joe.
So I don't know why I want to go back to that last question for a minute because I was thinking about this value question, and it reminded me of an experience we had in Thailand.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, Joe.
Hold on, Joe.
Hold on, Joe.
We have to
It's
talk
story time.
about Thailand.
No, it is so silly. And even I know that this is the truth, but I still enjoyed it. Remember the ice cream lady?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So there was this ice cream truck. It was literally a fucking like van that she retrofitted to have ice cream coolers in the back.
Coconut ice cream.
It was the best handmade coconut ice cream. At least she claimed it was handmade. Coconut ice cream ever.
It was legit.
It was fucking amazing. We would literally get on our scooters
Like a 20-minute
and
drive.
drive 20, 25 minutes for a lunch break.
Wait, like like Vespa scooters.
Yeah.
Scooter life.
Yeah, like mopeds.
Wait, dude, feeling some ice cream, bro? Fuck
Yeah, man,
let's
let's
go.
go.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, by the way, just riding a fucking scooter in Thailand is cool enough, right? But driving
Isn't it
20
super dangerous? Like, isn't it really dangerous in Thailand to drive one of those things?
We were on a small island.
It was
okay,
It
so
was
you're-
not like a
okay.
big city. You think
Yeah,
island
and
cruisers.
everybody drives one. So actually, I think it's safer to drive scooters in Asia than it is to ride motorcycles in the U.S. because the amount of awareness of people,
yeah.
like one for one, there's probably twice as many scooters as there is cars on some places, like on the island we were at, it was probably 3 or 4 to 1 in terms of more scooters than cars.
Yeah.
So people in a car are aware of their
aware.
surroundings and what's going on. Versus here, I'm riding my motorcycle into the office and this fucking girl next to me is like driving with her knees, putting on makeup, fucking eating at the same time. Like, dude, it's shit scary. But my point is, so we get to this ice cream place and every fucking time, I remember the first couple times I went there, she'd be like, oh, hello, my friend. Hello, my friend. I make good deal for you. I give you extra scoop. I give you extra scoop. So I'm thinking, damn, she's giving me value, right? Like, she recognizes me. I'm coming back. She's saying, hello, my friend. How are you? I'm going to give you extra scoop, right? And so I was thinking like, damn, it's worth this 25-minute drive. A, because it's great. And B, she always gives me an extra scoop, right? Until one day I was standing in line behind someone else who I could tell had never been there before because they didn't know anything about it. And she goes, oh, I give you extra scoop. And I was like, wait a minute.
I'm not special?
Wait a minute.
I'm not special.
And then the next time, right, I was like paying attention. And not that I care, right, because it still worked on me, but I was just curious.
You care because you're talking about it right now.
I'm a business guy, right? So I'm like, I'm thinking in terms of marketing, like, oh, does she do this all the time or does she just do it to me because I'm a regular, you know? And sure enough, every fucking person, I give you extra scoop just for you. I give you a good deal. I'm like, so she's giving people extra scoops to add extra value. Right? Super simple, dorky thing. And it's really not a great example of this lesson, right? But the moral of the story is people want more value, even if they know that it's kind of bullshit or that other people are getting the same value. If they feel like they're getting more value, they're likely going to come back.
They want to feel special.
They want to feel special. Yeah, 100%. There's a restaurant that I go to all the time now, fucking literally every day. It's retarded. But every time I go there, they know my order. They give me 25% off. The other day I went there, they're like, hey man, this meal's on me. Just fucking gave me the whole dinner for free, right? And then I go to the coffee shop around the corner and I'm sharing these stories for you guys that are out there listening because there's so many ways you can add value. It could be more product, but it could just be understanding someone's order. When I go to a place and they know my fucking order, I'm like, oh damn, I went to Hawaii like 6 months ago. No, in October. I went to Hawaii in October. It's December, so 2 months ago. I haven't been there in a year. I walk into one of my favorite restaurants. The girl behind the counter is like, oh, it's so good to see you. Do you want your usual? I was like, what's my
6 months?
I'm like, what's my usual? This was a year, bro.
Oh, a year?
I'm like, what's my usual? She's like, you want the salad with seared ahi, right? And fries? I was like, holy shit. Like, I love this place. Because they recognized, they knew me. There was that personal touch, right? I go to the coffee shop by my house. They know my name. They put on the thing, Mink, boom. They know what my order is. So I share this because, and if you're not in business, but you're thinking about your experience with other people, you tend to do business with people that make you feel like you're valued, right? I had I love business, so I'm going off on so many tangents. I had the opposite experience recently. There's a coffee shop by our place. I'm going to freaking name it. It's called Schmooze, right? Beautiful coffee shop, probably one of the coolest coffee shops in the Valley. About a year ago, I went and sat down and I was working, and the guy comes up to me. He's like, hey man, just so you know, you only have 60 minutes. I was like, excuse me? He's like, oh, we're reserving this for people that are eating and not working on their computer. So you can only be here for 60 minutes. And I was like, wow, okay. I never went back until like a week ago. I didn't go back for a year. And a week ago, I was like, you know what? I really like this place. I was going to meet a friend there anyway. So I went early, sat down, opened up my laptop. Within 10 minutes, that same dude, the owner, comes up to me. He's like, hey man, you can't sit here and work. And I was so taken back. I was like, sir, can I?
At least they're consistent.
I was like, sir, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a local. I live right around the corner. I get in the winter, it's busy season and you're busier here now. But in the summer, when it's fucking dead and no one wants to come here, I'm the local customer that you're driving away. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, when you tell your local customers that you don't want their business by telling them they can't come here and work, you're literally hurting your own business. And he's like, this is the best part. He goes, well, if you knew anything about business, you would understand.
Oh.
I was like, okay. He's like, I make my money from people that eat food, not just drink coffee and work.
He didn't know.
I was like, wow, this guy, short-term.
He was not curious.
Yeah, short-term thinking was not focused on providing an experience, was focused on how can I get immediate results? How can I move people in and out? I don't want to build a relationship. I just want to get money. And what's interesting is I go to a lot of coffee shops. I do a lot of business meetings. I literally was like, I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. I'm going to, like, just being honest with you. I will never come here again, and I will never refer anybody else here again, and I will never have any more business meetings or anything, because this type of experience with a customer is what drives people away. And he just like walked away from me. And I didn't do it out of spite. I was like genuinely trying to say, like, we have to be honest about our experience. And if we're going to improve, For anybody out there that's listening, if we fuck up at Live Bearded, we want you to tell us. We want you to say, you fucked up, you did this and this sucked, and I want that
It's the only way we learn. It's the only way we can do better and improve on what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
You should have taken that feedback as like, oh, wow, maybe there is something here. Okay,
Yeah.
tell me more. And
Yeah.
actually hear,
Yeah.
Well, and
I do want to point out that you guys actually do, like, you do that to an extreme. If, like, a butter spills or something in a package, it just, like, it gets all over everything.
it.
Yeah, it's like Jeremy or Kane or Justin, they're just like, oh, yeah, we got you, brother. And then, like, it's fixed. And, like, customer's happy.
Yeah. So why did I go down this tangent? Because there's a lot of people that probably aren't business owners. They're probably thinking, what the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, sorry, Joe. Keep waiting.
In so many ways, business is the game of life, whether you're a consumer or you're a producer. And everything that we experience in the modern world today was sold from someone to be used by someone else, right? Our experience, everything that we have in this room right here was sold from someone to someone so that we could do this. So it's unavoidable for us to not think that we're wrapped up in this game of business or consumption, right? And so I think if you want to have better relationships, finding ways to make people feel special, finding ways to make them feel valued, extra phone call. One of the things that I do at the end of the year, and I don't do it all the time. The end of the year is a good time to think about doing it, but I try to do it throughout the year, is I'll just record a random video and send them to people. Hey man, was just thinking about you. Just want to say thank you. We haven't chatted in a while. You know, I really value our friendship, blah, 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 blah. One of the guys who bought my first businesses, he wrote me a check for $545,000. Like a couple of years went by and I hadn't talked to the guy. And it was around New Year's. And I just recorded a message. I was like, hey, his name was Shannon. I was like, hey, Shannon, you know, I know we haven't chatted in a while, but I just really want to say thank you, blah, 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 shit, whatever. Just thanked him for his, for the impact that he had in my life, for the advice, for everything, the experience. And I sent it to him. He sent me a message back and was like, that is genuinely one of the nicest things anyone has ever sent me. I've never received a message like that. He's like, if you ever need anything, I'm always here. Because it was coming from a place of genuine like authenticity and vice versa. And I've done that before for a lot of different people just as a way to stay in touch. And what I realized is like, wow, I'm adding value to people and they like that. So if you're in business or you're not, if you're a parent or you're not, like the game of life in a lot of ways is finding a way to serve other people. And the more that we can serve other people, the more that service comes back to us. The more that we love on other people, the more that love comes back. Whether it's in business, relationships, or any aspect of our life. I'm really glad you brought up the value tangent because it like really took this in a much more tangible way because to me, we're here to serve a higher calling other than ourselves. You know, some people think that's a religious sense, but it could just mean how can I serve humanity in a higher sense? And I think those two things are connected and aligned. So it doesn't matter what you believe, but bringing awareness to like how we experience things and then how we can support and love on each other, I think is the most powerful thing we can do. Okay, what did Joe say now?
Yeah.
Dennis, Joe, James, what was his name?
Joe. It was Joe.
If you like that tangent, drop me a comment in the message, or drop me a comment below and let me know. And if you think I went off on some bullshit rant and it sucked, drop me that comment too, so I can learn and grow and get better.
Yeah. One last thing. my friend is it's a joke thing. So being nice and sending random messages to people, that was actually a prank I used to pull on people in high school. Back when you didn't have like phone locks or something, and you could get into someone's phone just by like picking up the phone,
Just flipping it.
Yeah, just by flipping it,
Opening it.
But I would go in and I would send as many messages as I could. Like I think the most I got once was 30. I'd send 30 texts out, and it was always the same message. It was I just wanted to tell you I've always admired you. And that was the text I sent out to everyone. And then like they get their phone back and then it starts like blowing back up. Everyone's really happy and it's positive. And they're just like, I didn't send the message. So they either tell them I don't admire you or they just have to own up to it. Fun prank.
Like a positive prank.
If you can unlock a phone now.
Nice.
But yeah. Sorry, Joe. Here we go. Next question is from Joe. With so much information out there, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. How can men become more critical thinkers and make well-informed decisions in a world filled with misinformation?
I think we're all trying to answer that question.
I think everyone struggles with misinformation right now. Like you don't necessarily know what to believe. Like that video you showed us earlier on TikTok.
100%.
Is it real?
Is it real? Yeah.
Or
yeah,
It's only getting worse
right
with
before we
AI.
started recording this, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this video of what looked like human robots. Basically, they were robots, but they looked like they were human. And they're walking and they pick up a gun and they start shooting it at a fucking Cybertruck. And then another robot gets out of the Cybertruck and is like, "It worked. I'm alive." You know, and I was like, "This is gnarly. Is this real?" And
It sucks when you have to ask yourself that question with so many of these things.
yeah, I don't know that there's a true answer to this. I think the most important thing to do these days is to try to apply a common sense filter to everything and take everything with a grain of salt. Yeah. I think whether it's all the war bullshit in Ukraine or in Israel or the COVID stuff, or if you think about anything that is divisive or quote taboo.
Yeah. Let me clarify what you mean by the war bullshit. You mean just like both sides just saying like whatever it is.
Yeah, like you
not
don't know.
the fact that there is a war or isn't a war going on, but just
Yeah.
like people just
different
throwing mud
perspectives and sides,
everywhere.
Yeah, I just use the term bullshit loosely because who do you believe? You listen to one thing and it's contradicting the other side of the argument, and vice versa, and in both those scenarios. And then I think again with COVID and all this stuff, like, did you guys know there was a groundbreaking report that just got released about COVID? It's brand new.
Wait, are you asking? I thought you were going off on a bit right
No.
now.
Okay.
No,
This is real?
Yeah.
This is real.
Okay. What was
Okay.
the groundbreaking? What is new?
This is real. They have now proven that natural immunity is stronger than vaccinated immunity.
Well, there you go.
Oh, you mean kind of what everyone
Kind
was
of what
Like,
like fucking
herd
life is
mentality in
true,
life,
that
yeah.
what we've known forever, right? Like that people were banned off social media for saying and fucking lost their accounts and their businesses and shit because so my point is like oftentimes there is no way to know except for applying common sense.
Yeah.
And using the COVID example, it's like, well, we've had natural immunity, and every other time in history, natural immunity has been stronger than vaccinated immunity, but not now.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily add up, right?
Yeah.
So critical thinking, using past reference points and common sense and trying to distill the information. I think what's scary to me, and this is something that Andy Frisella says a lot, which I listen to his podcast quite a bit. He says, as humans, it is completely understandable and acceptable that we would believe the news and the people that are, quote, in authority. Like that is totally acceptable, and that should be the case. But unfortunately, we can't take people at their word at face value anymore, right? And so I think the first part of the process is to just say like, okay, I can't just blindly trust or believe what someone else is telling me. And if it's really that important to you, you have to take some personal accountability and do a little bit of your own due diligence.
Yeah, I think everyone should be extremely curious, not be quick to make assumptions that in either side or any story or any position is truth, and be curious to dig in and find it and apply that common sense filter, and really be open to both sides to really see, because there's, to your point about every scenario, every story, like there's arguments on both sides, and you can't be quick to just say, oh, I believe in this because this is the little vacuum I'm living in, because
or it's the most convenient.
or it's the most
truth.
convenient, and it's just the headline you happen to read because you're scrolling and you take that at face value, right?
Yeah, I think the narratives that are the most dangerous are the ones that confirm your biases, right? Because
don't
we
question
all
them.
we all want to confirm our belief or our biases, and therefore we don't question them. Using that fucking robot video that we saw is a really, really good example, right? Because if we're here telling everybody, okay, you have to have a common sense filter, you have to do some critical thinking, and then you have to go do some due diligence, right? That, I hate to say it, but like that, with all of the bullshit in the world, like we don't have the time and energy to do due diligence in all the areas, right? So I'm scrolling through Instagram, I see this robot video. It seems fucking crazy because these robots are walking around. The guy picks up a fucking gun that looks like a AK-47 or something.
The robot.
Yeah, the robot, excuse me.
Just for people listening, we want to clarify.
So a guy walks up to a robot, hands him a gun. The robot says, "Oh, thank you." And then he fucking aims the gun and starts shooting it at a target, and then he shoots it at a truck. And I'm watching this, I'm like, this is insane. And I said to you guys, is this fucking real?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's not even like a serious issue to like that. That's just like entertainment video.
100%.
Like they do that stuff with like really important issues.
Well, this gets to my point is like, is it real or not? I actually don't give a fuck because it doesn't impact my life. So I'm not going to spend the time and energy required to go do the due diligence. And I think now more than ever, if you're going to take something at face value, it has to be something that you just don't care about or doesn't have an impact on your life. But if you're hearing something that is more of a big issue, whether it's a war or health or other things, and you're like, I don't know if this is true. I think those are the things that have genuine impact that we have to invest a little bit of time and energy to do some due diligence on. So it's not everything. It's just the things that have an impact on our current circumstance with where we're at. But yeah, it's hard because we can't take things at face value anymore. We have to do our own critical thinking, and we have to do a little bit of due diligence. And that's even harder now than it ever has been because people want information. We
right
have
away.
more access to information, but people are force fed so much that they just take things for what they are versus actually going out and trying to find what's truth.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that parable. I don't know which one of you said it. It's the one about the farmer and his son gets injured.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that's so terrible. Maybe.
Yeah.
But he just says maybe to these series of events.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but like,
Yeah.
I like the idea of just like, don't knee jerk react to the stuff that you see. If it is upsetting, like research it out, like find out kind of
Yeah,
things.
to JR's point, the quick story is there's a farmer, his horses run away. And the neighbor's like, oh, that's so terrible. And he's like, maybe. And then the next day, the horse comes back and it brings like 3 friends with it. Now he's got 5 horses or whatever it is. And then the neighbor comes over and is like, oh my God, you're so lucky. And he's like, maybe, and then his son, the farmer's son, is trying to break one of the horses. And the horse like hits him and he falls down and like breaks his leg. And the neighbor's like, oh my God, that's so bad. Your son broke his leg. And the farmer's like, maybe, and then the next day there's a war and they come to basically like get all the young people to go to war. And since the son's leg is broken, he doesn't go to war. And the neighbor's like, oh, you're so lucky. And he's like, maybe. I think the moral of the story is the story and the meaning that we associate to things is more powerful than the thing itself. And when we're trying to distill truth from fiction, the story that we tell ourselves about it or the meaning that we give it actually becomes more powerful than the truth or fiction itself.
Yeah, that gets into some other deep thinking stuff right there. But yeah, so take the time to think. Don't knee jerk react to everything. Just
The world needs more common sense.
use common sense filter. That's what you called it, right?
Yeah.
A common sense filter. All right, thank you, Joe. All right. Our next question comes from Corey. Corey says, as a blue-collar worker, how can I navigate career advancement and ensure I'm being recognized for my hard work and dedication? I've never really had like a normal job ever. So any like sort of advancement or progress or career development I've made has just been in the most weird ways that like isn't for everyone. But like the common thing is just like hard work and open communication up front of like, just setting expectations and meeting goals and hitting your KPIs.
Let me ask you, when you started,
one.
like what was your first job in kind of the content media space?
In content media, I guess it was a blog writer for a solar company.
Okay.
That's content, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then what was your next one? What was your next promotion?
The next one, I was a content writer, but I threw digital marketing, or I threw videography onto it, and I started shooting videos in addition to writing blogs.
Yep. And so you added a new skill.
New skill, yep.
How did you create that new skill?
I practiced it at home.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a promotion because you were able to add more value through a new skill.
I was going to go add more value or solve bigger problems. And what you were bringing with your new skill set, it sounds like, was being able to solve additional problems through marketing or through different media that allowed you. So my response is going to be find ways to add more value beyond just your role and show up every day looking to solve problems for your boss, for your team lead, for whoever. And the bigger problems you can solve, the faster you're going to advance through up the chain.
Solving
in
problems.
this specific example.
Yeah. Ask the question again.
Yeah. As a blue-collar worker, how can I navigate career advancement and ensure I'm being recognized for my hard work and dedication?
Yes.
Now, they're saying blue-collar.
Yeah. I think you could take blue collar out of that simply because the answer is true regardless of whatever fucking collar you wear or no collar. You guys are touching on it in the same way, but maybe just to explain it in a different context. We get paid to solve problems, whether it's blue collar, white collar, or no collar, right? If you're getting paid by a company, they're paying you to do something, and that something is typically to solve a particular problem. So in your example, you got paid to write content for the blog. And then in your next example, you got paid to write content and also create video shit. And I'm sure it was shit in the beginning.
It was. No,
because it was the first time you
terrible.
did it. Yeah.
I was a weird employee in my mid-20s, y'all.
Yeah. But why were you having to write blogs? Because the company had a problem of content that they needed solved, right? So if you break it down to its most common denominator or its most basic form, every job inherently is solving a problem or a need that the business has. And so the way that you have better career advancement is by finding out what additional problems you can solve in relationship to your current role. Right? So writing blog posts is a content role. Okay, well, what other problems can I solve in that universe? Well, I could do video. Okay, cool. And then once you start doing video, what's the next most inherent problem? Editing. Okay, well, what's the next most inherent problem? Figuring out how to get people to watch and read my shit. Okay, I got to go learn some marketing. Then what's the next? And then you continue to keep going up the ladder or downstream, depending upon how you look at it, and solving problems in that same universe. Maybe thinking about this in a different way when we think about Live Bearded, right? We started with beard products. And then we were like, okay, now we have great beard products. What else could we sell them, right? And what did we do? We said, well, what does someone do immediately before or immediately after grooming their beard? They're usually in the shower. They're usually trimming. They're usually doing something related to the bathroom that is preparing for or after their beard. So we're like, there's where the other problems we could solve are. We could solve other problems before, during, or after. And so I think it comes down to simply, if anybody wants to advance in their career in any way, the best thing that you can do is figure out a way to solve more problems. And the way that you typically do that is by developing new skills. I think that's the key to career advancement for anybody at any stage. Myself as the CEO,
even as owners,
us as owners, the only way we're going to advance our company and our careers is by finding different skills to add so that we can solve new and bigger problems that the company faces. And he mentioned blue collar, right? So think about the frame of a plumber. It's like, okay, well, you're a fucking plumber. You know how to do the plumbing. Okay. Well, do you just know how to do the kitchen plumbing? Do you do the toilet plumbing? Do you do all the plumbing underneath, right? Like there's different levels to the shit, and I don't know anything about it. I've never plumbed, but let's just say that there is. Okay, now you know how to do that. Okay, amazing. And let's say you're the best individual plumber there is in your town. Well, if you want to continue to advance your career, maybe you need to have a second truck. So how do you get a second truck? Well, you get really good at managing the budget and the finances, and you put together a P&L, and then you figure out how to hire someone, and then you have to develop the skills to now become a manager, and then a manager of multiple people, and then the manager of a company, and then it just continues to keep growing out. But the only way that it grows, whether it's growing from an entrepreneur standpoint inside of a company or from an entrepreneur standpoint outside of the company in your own thing.
Is that a term?
Entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur versus entrepreneur?
Yeah, for sure.
I had no idea.
It's this idea of if you're an entrepreneur, like you can be an employee, right? Or you could be an entrepreneur, which is like, I'm going to treat this company like it's my own, in the sense that as an employee, I want to see how I can develop my career path and grow by solving new problems and approaching it in the same way that I would approach it if it was my own company. And then that gives you the capacity to try to find ways to add incrementally more value. And then therefore, if you work for a good company, you'll be rewarded in terms of compensation and growth and things like that.
Yeah, so just working for myself. No, sorry, I didn't mean to distract. It was just, I hadn't heard entrepreneurship before.
But I thought I would try to come up with an example that's relevant in the blue collar, sphere. I think that is whatever the base skill set is, you have to figure out what additional skill sets complement that and help graduate you to the next level.
Well, those are all the questions that we have.
Boom!
Solid.
Yeah. They got progressively shorter as we went on. First one, second.
Yeah. Well, I took up so much damn time. But seriously, guys, if
like
you're,
an inverted
if you're
pyramid.
listening to this all the way through, do you like it when we get deeper into some of these topics, talk about business, relate it back to life?
Yeah, we mean it when we say we want your feedback.
Yeah.
If you like, love, hate, all of it, we want to hear about it so we can learn from it and do better on future episodes. And
Put it in the comments. Now.
right now.
Please.
I like the tangents. I think the tangents are where a lot of value come from, So
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we doing a postmortem on this episode?
Yeah,
We're
we're demonstrating in real time all the shit we talked about. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about what we want to talk about, but if our audience doesn't give a fuck, then it doesn't matter. So again, part of this
point
process
is to add value to our audience and answer the questions they want to hear.
Tell us, was this valuable? Was it not?
All of our listeners out there, keep going. How should we improve? What should we do differently? Do we just flat out fucking suck? If that's true, just write, you fucking suck. It won't hurt our feelings.
All caps.
But if you're gonna write, if you're gonna write,
bro,
if you're gonna write, you fucking suck, it better have at least 5 exclamation points at the end of it.
Yeah, and you better get
And
really
one of those
specific.
shit emojis. I want a shit emoji if you think we suck. But if you think we're cool, then just say, nah, man, I liked it.
I really like it when people get really specific with their insults.
Yes.
That really lets my ego be able to protect myself easier.
Yeah.
If you say you suck to me, it's just like, oh, well, there's just so much that sucks about me.
Yeah.
What
specifically?
What
Which part?
specifically is the worst?
Yeah. One time I got a comment on one of my videos and it said, if you're going to make videos, you should fix your ugly teeth. I was like, God damn.
We've heard
That
heard
hurts.
them all over the years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta love the
And,
trolls.
truthfully, I was a little self-conscious with my teeth in general because, I'd never had braces. The bottom's like a little bit crooked. And I was like, man, this guy knew right how to hit me in the dick.
Even
But
Jim Carrey
not
has
anymore.
crooked teeth.
Not anymore. I'm I'm good to go now.
You're good.
Man, fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
People dug on my bald spot when we did You Suck at Bearding.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't care. They still laughed and they watched the whole thing. So I won, not them.
All right, so we got this new, not a new segment.
Oh, the segment. Yeah,
but
Do Better
we got-
Dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's get in the Do Better Dude. Guys, if you're listening and you haven't heard this before, we have a Do Better Dude of the Week where we like to highlight a guy out in the world just doing good shit. Because if we're being honest, most of the time if you turn on the news, there's a lot of negative bullshit out there. And a lot of times these good, heartfelt, positive stories don't get the light that they deserve. So we go out into the interwebs, find somebody we want to recognize and talk about. And JR is going to share a little story about our Do Better Dude this week.
I certainly am.
One or two? I never know.
It's just one.
Oh, it is one.
It's
All
one
right.
guy, but
All
let me tell you, a lot of ups and downs in this story. All right, that'll make sense in a second. October 9th, 2023, southeast of Dallas, Texas, in the small town of Crandall, a hot air balloon from the Gordon Bennett gas balloon race has crossed into the town's airspace. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Pejorta Hollis and Christoph Zapart. It doesn't matter.
Amazing pronunciation.
Yeah, they're from Swidnica, they're the Poland team. They're not from Denver. From Poland. They have been traveling in this air balloon race, which is nonstop. It starts in Albuquerque, and they have gone the whole way into Texas.
Okay.
They've been up in an air balloon for a long time. As they're flying through the air, I didn't even know that there was air balloon races, which is why this is like super interesting to me. Like I was reading about the Do Better Do, I'm like, what is this? And then I shot myself off into a tangent. This is a balloon race though that happens all the time. Well, the point of it is to stay in the air balloon and go the farthest distance that you can.
Do you just have to like hold it the whole time? Like, what if you really got to piss? Do
I
you
mean,
piss-
I think they got a poo
do
bucket
you, do you
up
like
there.
piss off
Yeah.
to the side of the? Can you imagine? You think it's
They
raining
probably
and-
dump it in like space that's like not occupied. They probably
They
dump
probably have to
their
dump it,
shit.
for sure. For sure.
For sure.
Toss it overboard.
Like it's fascinating, right? Because they stay in the air balloon for so
I mean,
long.
how long are we talking though? Are we talking a week? We talking 2 weeks? We talking
I think
It would
like
get
6 hours?
cold up
We
there.
get cold. Yeah.
it is cold.
Elevation.
It's I want to say 72 hours.
Okay.
They were up there.
And it's all dependent on wind, right? Like you can go up and down, fill up more air, right? But you're not going directionally.
Yeah, the farthest, the winner of this one, I think, made it all the way to the East Coast.
Damn.
So let's start out, but yeah, it's crazy. Regardless of that, the Poland team, Team 1, was in Crandall, Texas airspace when they crash and their balloon catches fire and it collapses to the ground. You thought this was going to be about them, right? No, it's not. It is about Israel Alfaro, an English teacher who saved the Poland team from burning in their hot air balloon. So he's driving home from school in his car going, and he sees just this huge pillar of smoke. And he's just like, oh, what's going on? He pulls up, he sees this hot air balloon that's just burning. It's engulfed in flames and smoke. And there's already a couple guys there. But this is the interesting part. They were able to get one of the pilots out on the Poland team, but they couldn't get the other guy because they were in shorts and the fire was just like, it was too hot for them. Luckily, Alfaro had his pants on and he ran into the balloon and got the guy out, and like action movie sequence was able to pull him away. And like 15 seconds after doing that, the hot air balloon
Kaboom.
exploded. Yeah.
Damn.
So that guy would have been, the other guy on the Poland team would have been dead if Alfaro wasn't in there. And the other guys, they couldn't do anything. Like they were,
Pussies.
I didn't want to say that they were just going to leave him, but
They weren't taking action.
yeah, well, yeah, they were just, they couldn't
Let's be
stand the
honest.
flames.
How much of a difference is a pair of jeans gonna make versus a pair of shorts? Probably not that much.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
maybe.
I don't know.
It might give you like 10 or 15 seconds extra to be in the flames, but you're right. But those little seconds, they make a
Those-
difference
those
though.
enough.
But yeah, Alfaro gets in there and
Stepped in, saved the day.
Stepped in, saved the day. Everyone was okay. The pilots went to the hospital and they got taken care of. They're all right. Their hot air balloon is destroyed though, so it didn't make it.
yeah.
But yeah, Alfaro, an English teacher.
Shout out to Alfaro in Texas.
Yeah. He was just like, I just jumped into action. And like, there's some interviews with him. I'll post the links so you can check out the stories for yourself. I'll also put the links for the hot air balloon race because it's fascinating. And they don't always end like that. This was like a unique thing. But yeah, it's like a team of like 18 people. Or it's 18 different teams just competing against each other.
That's wild.
But yeah, this is about Alfaro though. So good job. Oh, Israel Alfaro.
Alfaro.
I keep saying his last name first, which is fine. Israel Alfaro, good job, man. You're a do better dude.
Way to take action. Go make it happen, bro. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love stories like this that show someone who puts their own safety at risk in the service of others. I think it's what men are built to do in a lot of ways. It's there's nothing more powerful, I think, that we could do than to put our own life at risk in service of someone else. I think it's really beautiful. Great example.
Yeah.
Someone that we should definitely model.
You get what I mean now by there's a lot of ups and downs in this story. That was fun.
It's like you're a comedian or something.
Yeah, it's like I planned it out. But I said it, I'm like, dang it, there's no framework for this yet. I needed to build it first.
Yeah.
But now I got it. I spent my joke early.
It's pretty good, though.
It was premature.
Womp womp.
But yeah, that's our Do Better Dude. Those are our community questions. You guys feel good about today?
It's a great day.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
I love the questions.
Yeah.
Well, excited for, I guess we'll be off for a couple weeks, but then we'll be back in here getting some more.
That's going to do it for us here on The Beardsman.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us for a little while. We really love connecting and we mean it. Give us some feedback. Shoot us some questions. We look forward to seeing them in the chat or in the email. And as always, live bearded!
Mic drop.